Hello, everybody. I'm Adriana James, and with me today to talk about a very important topic is a master trainer of NLP, Cristina Moise. She is a very good friend of mine. She's become a very good friend of mine in time. She's also teaching trainings for the Ted James Company. And she's got a vast experience in using different techniques with children or advising parents how to deal with normal situations that happen with children. So when I received a bunch of inquiries and emails based on this topic, I thought, what's the best person to invite to have a conversation and give you some advice, some simple things anybody can do. But Cristina, welcome, Cristina.
Hi, Adriana. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure being today.
I thought of you immediately because you are working with children, you have children, you have gone through the period of development. You have your children are teenagers now, right?
Yeah, they're 15 and 13 years old.
Beautiful. But since you started NLP years ago, as they grew up, you already have experience in what to do and how to apply what you learned in order to guide them and make a happy family environment. And I got a bunch of emails. Without further ado, let me read you the first one. I need help. What's the appropriate discipline route for a 2-year-old? He's really become so aggressive and angry, and I don't know what to do because it happens so frequently. If he pushes or hits, I will explain to him why that's not okay, how we should treat each other, and so on and so forth. Second time, we have a quiet minute and then the conversation again. Third time, it gets longer and repeat the convo. Today at church, after the third time, I just had his dad take him out of the playroom because it feels crazy to just keep doing timeouts. What are we missing? I know this is normal, but this routine happens like 5 times a day, and it's not just a light hit on the other kids. He's pushing them so hard they fall over and kicking and throwing toys. I don't know if what we're doing is working, and I'm feeling like such a failure. Also, by the end of the day, half the time my reaction is yelling because I'm exhausted. We spend so much one-on-one time, and I've never had issues like this before. I keep trying to reroute to things he can do with his anger, like wall pushes and stuff, but I'm just wearing out and feeling discouraged. Thanks for reading. So that's the email, Cristina. So what do you think? Give us your insight.
Yeah, excellent. I can absolutely relate to this mother because me as well, I was in that place before NLP. Actually, NLP, being a mother is what took me into NLP because I was very unhappy with the way I was being a mother. Just like this lady was sharing, I feel like I'm a failure, and I was feeling like I was a failure. And no matter what I changed consciously, no matter how much effort I put into it, I just could not change this feeling of being a failure as a mother and not doing things right. And the more I tried to discipline my kids, actually the reaction from them was quite the opposite one. So what to do? What do you do in these kind of situations? And just like this woman has shared, I was also full of anger, and not necessarily at my kids, but at myself, because I felt helpless in that situation. And I'm sure, and I've heard so many mothers feeling the same way. So this got me into researching and how can I, change who I am, because definitely changing the kid was not working. I mean, having the kid discipline them, telling them what to do, especially when they're 2 years old, it's very difficult. And there's one little thing that I wish all mothers could understand, and parents, is the fact that the children until the age of 6 or 7 maximum, all they have is what we call the unconscious mind. So when we understand that this is how kids operate until the age of 6 or 7, they don't have yet that ability to understand what you're explaining to them consciously, all the nice educational concepts. even if it's gentle parenting, even if it's positive, outlook or parenting style, whatever that is, just understand that until the age of 6, they can only feel emotions. They respond very well to stories. This is how the unconscious minds work, and it's very spontaneous and it's high on energy. So you need to understand these things, and discipline might not be the right answer in such a situation. I found that having your child empty out, just ask them, what do you feel? What's your emotion? Name those emotions. I remember once I was working with just a couple of years ago with the kindergarten children, and some of them, especially one of them, was very emotional. And after working with them just a couple of sessions, when I met the mother, she said, I don't know what you did to my child, but before, whenever he was feeling angry, it would take him almost a week to get over that. Can you
Oh.
imagine? Now he's processing his emotion in less than a few hours. I mean, he snaps out of that anger very quickly. He's able to process his emotions. So kids need, first of all, to be acknowledged. Whatever they feel, tell them, hey, I hear you. What is it that you're feeling? Ask them, what emotion are you feeling? And validate that, accept that. Children want to feel accepted and heard. Unfortunately, parents, they try to shove down their throat a lot of parenting techniques and advice that they hear from other people. But it's very simple with a child. Just listen to them, hear them out. What is it that they have to say? And NLP helped me a lot because oftentimes we buy into the content of what they're saying. And the child usually would
Yes.
go, you were a very bad mother. You never listened to me. And my kids, even these days, they sometimes tell me, you're a bad mother. But I don't bite into that. I don't buy into the content of what they're saying, but I go and look for the structure. What is it that they're actually telling me? What are some of the things, some of the patterns that are there? So
In
I
other
ask
words, what's behind it, right?
exactly what's behind it. And I get to that by asking them first, acknowledging, not telling them, oh, this is not right, and getting defensive, because that will make them, feel reluctant to speaking with you. So acknowledge that, say, I hear you, build a rapport with them, which is a little technique, it's something you learn in the first day of NLP, building rapport, using your sensory acuity, watch them as you listen to them. And then have them empty out. What is it that they're feeling? What is behind, the behavior or the thing that they're doing? Be curious about them. And I love NLP because NLP teaches you all about how to be curious about anybody, not just the clients that you're working with if you're a coach, but also with the family, with your children especially. And I can guarantee you, you will learn so much from your own kids. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, I agree.
I think they named the field parenting, and I think they nailed it because it's actually the child who is teaching the parent a lot of things.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not
yes.
the other, yeah, it's not the other way around.
Have
So,
you ever used what we call in NLP pattern interrupting the pattern of behavior in a completely different and shocking way?
oh, absolutely. That's one of my favorite, and I use it a lot with my son. Whenever we were in public, in a hotel, in a restaurant, and even at home, he would come from, school or kindergarten, and he would do a lot of, movements and quite, at some point he would not stop. And the way to stop is that I was using a pattern interrupt just at the beginning of his behavior. I would do something that would shock him in a good way, and that would interrupt his behavior. And what I prefer doing is like mimicking him or doing exactly as he did, but not to offend him or in any way. It's just, do the same movements, that floss kind of a movement. I'm sure children know this, And I kid you not, when I started doing the same behavior, for him, it was like an eye opener. It was like a big aha moment because it was only then I was his mirror in that moment. And
Mm-hmm.
he could see himself in that mirror right then. He realized what was actually he was doing. And I mentioned about the unconscious mind, and more than 90% of the time, we run unconscious pattern behaviors, and it's the same with kids. So he was running something which was
Kids run
unconscious.
100% of unconscious behavior up
Yeah,
to the age of 7. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So me doing the same was like a mirror for him, and it would interrupt his pattern because he would then, this is what I'm doing, or something shifted in him immediately, and he would stop that. And I did that countless times, and it worked every single time. And you
Yep.
can do the same with your child. If they're throwing a tantrum, and even if you're in the middle of the mall, and I know there are a lot of parents who get embarrassed because their child is throwing a tantrum in the mall, they're
Yes.
crying out loud, but it's not about the other people, it's about you and your child. And in that moment, you got to support your child to the best you can. And this is one way to do it. If they throw a tantrum, whatever they do something that it's similar, something that would interrupt that behavior, something that would be shocking. It's like, you start having like a tantrum as well. I don't like this toy, and I don't like this toy, and I don't like this and this. And all of a sudden, it will all go away because it will be like a pattern interrupt for them.
First of all,
Plus,
I
you
guess that they're very surprised because mom's not supposed to do that.
yeah, like grown-ups, they're very serious all the time. But it's a great opportunity for the mom or the dad to have some fun because children are meant to play all the time and to have fun. This is how they learn.
That's how they learn, yeah.
If you give them concepts like you got to be polite because there are people watching, they don't get it. Again, the unconscious mind does not process that. It's bypassing their ears just like that. So you gotta operate within the same environment or with the same tools that they're operating with at the age of 2 or 3 or up until 6 or 7. After 6 or 7, they also have the conscious mind that it's coming into place, and it's going to be completely different.
Yeah, so we
I
know that until the age of 6, 7, as you said, and I'm saying 6, 7, and because it's not okay. It's 7 by the date, and this is the
yeah,
it's around that
the
age.
birthday, so you got to have your conscious mind.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah. So, but until then, there is no critical faculty. In other words, to as you just mentioned, it is kind of an adult way of thinking to talk rational to your child, small child. No, they play. Everything has to be in the game because game happens unconsciously. That's the learning, and learning happens at the unconscious level until that age.
Yeah.
So you have to. So to say it in NLP, we call it you operate from the other person's model of the world. But let's translate this in simple words. So even people who are not, trained in NLP or don't understand this, it's almost like you get into your child's mind and operate from there. Don't buy into it. In other words, don't buy into the negative emotion. If it's a temper tantrum or something like this, right? So be very, very critical about what you're doing, but you operate inside there, not from yours, because the child has their own, little world inside their minds, which is very different from ours as adults. It makes total sense.
Absolutely. And don't take it personally. Even if your child tells you you're the worst mom in the world, I've heard this so many
Yeah.
times. It's not about you. It's about them. And it's a way for them to get your attention. I mean, kids, they're like genius. I mean, they will get whatever they want. If they want to get your attention, they'll find a way to get that attention. Even if they say to you, you're the worst mom in the world.
They got
Know
your
that
attention.
they don't really mean it. What they're doing actually is grab your attention. Hey, look at me. I'm trying to tell you something. Yeah.
Yes, and that's very, very important. It's the issue of attention that, in my experience, just working and doing coaching with parents or with children, is that most of children behavioral problems. Now, I have to put a disclosure. None of us is a medical doctor, so if your child has a behavioral problem, by all means seek advice from a competent medical doctor or a child licensed person, right? But we give you information because it is, at least my experience, working, as I said, with parents or even directly with children, is that many of the behavioral problems that children exhibit is exactly this issue. Somehow attention, it's not the only one, but it is one of the major issues. They want attention. There is something they feel, as you said, emotionally that it's a burden on them, and they're trying to get attention. Look at me, acknowledge what I'm feeling, acknowledge that something's not right with me. And then, of course, they have an incredible flexibility of behavior. They are unbelievably flexible, and as you said, they get your attention.
Absolutely, all the time. And just, for a moment, you said get into their model of the world. It's step into their shoes for a second. You're a 2-year-old child. How do they see the world around them? It's like everything and everyone is huge, is gigantic. People are doing things they don't understand. The world is still a strange place for them. They're getting to know the world. Why is this woman behaving this way? Why is that thing happening that way? There's a lot of stuff. They're overwhelmed. They get into sensory overwhelm oftentimes, and they need guidance. They need someone to explain things to them. Why are things like this? Why is mom angry? Why is dad doing this thing or talking to mom like this, and so on? So see the life of a child in the larger context, get into their shoes, the 2-year-old shoes. What is it? How do they see the world through their own eyes, through the little eyes of a 2-year-old?
I have a little example, right? So in presenting problem, believe it or not, every time it would be rain and storm outside, the child will scream uncontrollably. And so mom was trying to, calm him down, and the same, typical things, to the point to where mom was getting frustrated, and out of her skull, she couldn't calm down the child. It would be like, and it would get worse and worse and worse and worse. And one day, we didn't, and I told her the same thing that you mentioned before, Cristina. I know stories. And one day she went home, after we talked a bit together, and she said to her child, she gave him the story, here is what's happening. You hear these loud noises. You see the clouds? Yeah. Okay, the clouds are bumping into each other. And they gave her a story. The child had a game where things were bumping into each other. So she made a parallel story, right? The clouds are bumping into each other. Well, when you bump your little truck or something, it makes a noise, right? It's a tiny thing, but the clouds are big. That's the big noise. And that's the only thing that's happening. That, believe it or not, that very simple story solved the issue. The child went, okay, now I understand the noise. In my world, in my little, I don't know, 2, 3-year-old, tiny little world, at my level I understand, and it was never an issue. So
Exactly.
it could be this simple.
Absolutely.